Okay, my claim is that excessive pharmaceutical drug exposure negatively influences people, particularly the younger generation. And just some background information. The first pharmacy was opened in Baghdad in 754 AD, which is like way different compared to now because you basically see drugstores on every corner, and that's boomed the past decade or so. In the 1950s, legislation was enacted to test and approve drugs, and just because they finally developed more scientific approaches and a better understanding of the human biology and DNA. Valium was first discovered in 1960 and became the most prescribed drug in history. And the reason so many drugs have become more available now is because of U.S. advertising, and the drug pharmacies are dealing specifically with the people as opposed to doctors and other forms. So people can actually just get drugs on the internet or through other sources. So my first claim is that people are becoming over-medicated and over-diagnosed by doctors. Many people assume drugs are safe just because they're prescribed by doctors. Most side effects are actually worse than most of the conditions that people get drugs for, such as like death, heart attack, stroke. There are underlying uses that people take drugs for, not just the specified use of drugs, such as anxiety, insomnia, and to get high. So, of all hospital outpatient visits in America, 76% involve drug therapy, as opposed to just getting a checkup or anything aside from that. In 2007, there were over 11,500 deaths related to prescription opioids, which is a number greater than that of deaths due to heroin and cocaine combined. And Dr. Dworkin, a Maryland anesthesiologist and senior fellow at Washington's Hudson Institute, states that doctors are now medicating unhappiness. Too many people take drugs such as antidepressants and anti-anxiety pills when they should be making changes in their lives. My second claim is that prescription drugs are becoming much more prevalent and available to the public. In the matter of 10 years, prescriptions for stimulants have increased from 5 million to 45 million. And people can get drugs via online pharmacies, through forged doctor prescriptions, multiple doctor visits, and theft. So many drug companies also spend twice as much to market drugs and to sell them, particularly to the public and through people just one-on-one, then they spend as much money on doing that as they do to actually research the drugs and finding out, different effects and what they can also do to benefit people in the long run. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention have classified prescription drug abuse as an epidemic, just because it's become so hard for people to get over it, and it's just so available as opposed to illegal drugs. My last claim is that children are being started on drugs at a very young age and form addictions and reliances on these drugs. A lot of times parents end up giving their kids too much drugs, too large of a dose, or the kids find a way to get their parents drugs, which they shouldn't be available to them. Doctors often prescribe kids with anti-anxiety medicine or claim that they have a disorder such as ADHD just because they're being kids. And it just gets kids started on drugs at a very young age. Data from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health show that nearly 1/3 of people aged 12 and over who used drugs for the first time in 2009 began using a prescription drug non-medically. So that's just kind of a scary thought that they don't even need it. It's just they're starting taking it, and it just can lead to so much more in the future. And the growing impact of pediatrical pharmaceutical poisoning, and a study published in the Journal of Pediatrics finds that the number of accidental drug poisoning among American kids is at 22%. And nearly 454,000 kids aged 5 and younger, about 95% of cases involved self-discovery and self-ingestion of prescription meds. And the remaining 5% were accidental poisonings due to dosing errors. So kids are just getting more access to these, and as long as the drug companies and pharmacies start pushing drugs upon people, then it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on. So that just goes to support my claim that that drug companies negatively influence kids, and it's just going to get worse if it significantly jumped from the past decade to now. So the future is kind of scary for the next generation. Thank you.
All right, the claim's a little bit convoluted at the end. It sounds like it's a little different than what you had at the beginning. There's no preview of the secondary claims, but you do a good job labeling those claims internally. You cite your sources for the most part. Sometimes the information is not necessarily advancing the major inference, but it does suggest some negative consequences on that particular point. You do a pretty good job speaking to the audience. Like I said at the end, the summary seems to kind of shift the argument around a little bit, and I'm never quite sure whether it's the access to it, the drug company's responsibility, it's the misuse of these drugs, what the source of the problem is, and you're trying to combine them all into one, and I don't think that works quite as well as you were hoping. All right. I hear all this rattling around and all these people who are so anxious to leave, and apparently they don't want to hear Sava and Chris's speeches. What's that? No, they don't? Is that what you said?
She said it herself, okay?
Okay. I understand that some of you may have a 7 o'clock class that you need to leave for. I can get these 2 speeches in by 7 o'clock, but if you have a 7 o'clock class that you need to leave for, please do so now. Those of you who can stay for 12 more minutes so we can hear the other speeches, your classmates would appreciate having an audience, okay? Sava, you're going to be next.
I actually have a 7 o'clock biology lab.
What's that?
I have a 7 o'clock biology lab. And
So what? Oh, you're one of the ones. Well, then you need to go.
The anticipation's killing me.
You can't be late for your lab? Okay. Well, do you want to go first? Well, let's do that. We'll have you go first. All right. Sorry. Where'd you go? Oh, there's just... I'm looking at back for the big table. All right, hang on. Give him 10 seconds to get out.